Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests today are Josh Sazon and Wes Habley, back for another round of shows profiling an artist from the Great American Songbook at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. First off, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So we're working our way through the greatest artists in the Great American Songbook, not alphabetically, I notice.
No.
Because this program is the music of Harold Arlen.
That's right.
And coming up this weekend at the Coralville Center, as I said, entitled Over the Rainbow. So, spoiler alert, that's one of them.
That's right.
So, Josh, I know that part of this is just looking over the catalog and seeing and seeing, you know, who's got enough songs in there to build a show around. But as you started to dig into to Harold Arlen, what'd you turn up?
A lot of stuff. In some ways, this is one of the more gratifying composers that we've worked with. Part of it, I think, is because he is, oddly enough, one of the more obscure composers of the Great American Songbook. If you think of people like Gershwin and Porter and Berlin, I mean, those sort of trip over the tongues fairly easily. But Arlen, you kind of have to think a little bit, although he is responsible for Over the Rainbow, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Well, and of course, you're in a house where we would consider him one of the leading lights.
Oh, certainly.
Because a lot of his songs, and of course, many of the songs from, you know, Gershwin and all those that you mentioned have become standards in the jazz repertoire. But I'm just going to run down a few here. Thank you for the set list, by the way. But
Sure.
Blues in the Night, That Old Black Magic, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, Stormy Weather, I Got the World on a String.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, those are all, you know, I say those are, you know, any jazz fan would twig to those right away.
They would know the tunes. They may not necessarily know the composer.
Right.
Yeah, they not always the words.
Or the lyricist either.
Yeah, exactly. So, Wes, that brings me to you as the music director.
Yes.
Talk just a little bit about highlighting the lyricist, the work of the lyricist, when what we remember are the tunes.
Yeah, that's really an interesting challenge. And when I talk to people about this particular show, and I mentioned the name Harold Arlen, there was sort of a blank stare among some of them. And then I start clicking off the tunes, and they go, yeah, I know that one. Yes, I know that one. And then I say Wizard of Oz, and then everybody clicks in and says they're ready to go. So, frankly, the songs sell themselves, most of them. Although this particular set of songs, set list has some lesser-known titles that Arlen is really noted for. We also note that Judy Garland has done a number of turns of Arlen songs, which are just epic. So,
and then where do you source the arrangements for a program
there are
like this?
several places. First of all, we have a relationship with the Silver Swing Band out of the Senior Center in Iowa City. We have some of their arrangements. There is I have 3 different websites. One's called Big Band Charts. One is called Yesteryear's Tunes and such. The Big Band's Charts makes the tunes available at a relatively inexpensive price and makes it a pretty good deal, which makes these, because they're big band, it makes these shows plausible from a financial standpoint. If we had to go out and buy complete arrangements or complete scores of a lot of things, we probably would not be able to afford to do these. So,
do you use pretty much the same orchestra from show to show in this series?
Same instrumentation, pretty much at this point in time. It's 5/4 and rhythm.
Standard big band.
Yep. Yes. Although in this particular show, we do have 6 of the charts that are actually being just done by vocalist, piano, bass, and drums. Okay. So we're pulling that to offer a little variety in terms of the musical settings for the show.
Well, of course, we talked a lot about the instrumental side, but the key to this Josh, is the singers, of course, who are going to interpret
certainly.
the songs. So who is performing?
The performers they're fairly new, actually. They haven't they are all new, working with us on this particular format. We have Rachel Brown, who has done theater back in the day, but not in a good while. So we're very happy to have her back. We have Taylor Dengler, who is also relatively new in the area, yes? And Stephen Jepson, actually born and raised in the area, moved away and came back, also has a lovely voice. So looking forward to hearing them with the big band and with the small combo as well. One thing that I have to add about the small combo is one of the more gratifying things about working with a small combo in these particular programs is that it allows us to actually introduce the more obscure songs that you'd not necessarily find with the big band.
Some probably don't have a big band, full big band arrangement.
Right. So there are some lovely ones like there's one called Last Night When We Were Young, that I'm pretty sure most people have not heard of, and our singer did not hear of it until he actually got that assignment. It's actually it is Arlen and Harburg, the lyricists, one of their favorite tunes, as well as Judy Garland's. It's not The Man Got Away, it's not Over the Rainbow, it's not Get Happy. It's this wonderfully obscure tune that hopefully we can do justice to.
Your role in these shows, Josh, is to talk a little bit in between the songs, be the DJ, as it were, sometimes.
Oh, basically, I just act as a buffer while the musicians actually look for the right music to play at the right time. So,
but in your process of doing this study, you have turned up, I'm sure, a few interesting stories about Arlen and his career. So we don't want to spoil the whole show, but what's a little tidbit that you turned up? Yeah.
Oh, heavens, where do I begin? Arlen started out, he was the son of a Jewish cantor born in Buffalo. He dreamed of making it big. He didn't finish high school, to the despair of his parents. Some of your listeners could probably relate to that. He became a musician, and he was actually successful at it. He started off as a performer, as a pianist and a singer. He has a wonderfully distinctive voice. When you hear it, you can't really mistake it for anything else. But he really did get his bread and butter from composing, which is great, except that, as Wes had said, no one knows him. No one knows him by the name.
Of course, he wrote the lyrics to the famous songs in The Wizard of Oz.
He wrote the music. The lyrics were by Yip Harburg, another lyricist who is not at all remembered anymore. But if you start rattling off the names of some of the songs that he's done, and a lot of different other lyricists that have the same fate. Ted Koehler is another one who absolutely no one remembers, and yet you would remember Paper Moon. You'd remember maybe Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do we know anything about the circumstances under which he got the job for The Wizard of Oz, or the process of creating the music for that movie?
Oh, sure. No, he moved to Hollywood. He started off writing songs for what was called the Cotton Club Review, and he wrote some very risque songs, none of which we are performing that evening. He wrote one called Pussy, which is pretty... Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scandalize your listeners, but basically it is what you expect it to be. And then he moved to writing Broadway reviews, and then after that he schlepped off to Hollywood. He got roped in to write The Wizard of Oz, and Over the Rainbow was a very difficult song for him to write. It had to be this big ballad that he was absolutely stumped to create. He was given a 14-week deadline. He didn't get the music until the 14th week. He played it for the lyricist. The lyricist said, "Oh God, that's too grand. That's too grandiose. You can't play that for the for a little farm girl in Kansas. It's too operatic." And so they showed it off to Ira Gershwin, George Gershwin's brother, who was a lyricist, and he said, "No, this will work." And so he wrote lyrics for it, and then even then it was rejected by the studio. It was rejected by the publicist. It's too long. It's too complicated. But I mean, you know what happened next.
Quality will out.
and they actually won the Oscar for that year.
Yeah.
It's Over the Rainbow, the music of Harold Arlen, October 5th at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. How do we get tickets?
How do we get tickets?
CoralvilleArts.org. Tickets are available. They're starting to sell, as the word gets out, they're starting to sell pretty well, but CoralvilleArts.org.
All right.
Place for tickets.
Well, I've really enjoyed hearing you come in and talk about the different artists of the Great American Songbook that you've been spotlighting, and I'm sure there's still a lot more to go. So we'll enjoy this one and look forward to another one, I hope.
That's what we're hoping to.
Yes, for sure.
Again, CoralvilleArts.org if you'd like tickets to see Over the Rainbow, the music of Harold Arlen, coming up October 5th at the Coralville Center for the Performing Arts. Josh, Wes, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you for having us. That's great.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.